Hello everyone and welcome to Failing Forward. In life and in startups, things almost never work out the way we want them to. But instead of letting these mistakes bring us down, we see failure as a stepping stone to success. I'm your host, Kare, and today we have the founder of Kido Care, a childcare platform that provides flexible care solution. So welcome, Nadira.
Thank you. Very happy to be here.
Thanks for joining us today, Nadira. Before we dive into your startup journey and its trials, we'd like to get to know you a little bit better. So your LinkedIn profile is quite interesting one. Describes you as an entrepreneur, a mom, a Muay Thai enthusiast, and someone that eats too much desserts. Is that, can you care to explain a little bit?
Which part? The one
All of it.
eating a lot of dessert?
All of it.
Okay. Well, if you look at me, I go to the gym. At the same time, I don't say no to like desserts.
Right.
I just love them, right?
Balance of the calories, right?
Yes. I always believe that, if you're going to put in things in your body,
You should.
then you have to make it worth it, right?
Correct.
You are going to carry the weight,
Totally.
make it worth it. So that's my life motto lah. So I've been an entrepreneur almost all my adult life lah. Maybe I even started when I was a child, dabbling in what can I sell to make that extra money, right? So I used to sell everything, whatever I can get lah. I think karma plays back. My kids also do the same thing. I buy groceries, they go back and sell in school, right? So that's the mommy part of me, right? So I'm a mom of 6.
6.
Yes.
Wow.
Eldest is about 26. My youngest is about 11. 4 girls, 2 boys. Blessed. Yeah.
Do that?
Huh?
How do you do that? I mean, managing.
Magic.
Magic.
No, of
more
course
about the
not.
magic.
Well, definitely it takes miracle, right? Many times, but yeah, it's basically building a lot of support system and relying on that support system, because becoming an entrepreneur and being a mom is very tough, right? And it's tough. You make certain decisions that sometimes make you doubt, whether you should be doing that. You have the constant mom guilt, right? At the same time, you have responsibility towards your business. You want to keep going, right? A lot of choices to make in between. So that's, I guess, part of my daily life, making choices. On top of that, I think, I've been running businesses since I was in my very early 20s. I started off building my computing-based hardware products called Nadiras, and I ran that for a good 13-14 years until I decided to pivot because hardware did not make much sense anymore. So at one point, we had our own assembly lines. We supplied quite extensively to the Ministry of Education. Our computers were in school. We penetrated the local market, regional market as well with our computing products. We moved on to having software development. We created an application way back in 2000 and maybe 4. It was called Coco. Coco. It was a picture of a chicken and Coco, and yes, it was essentially like Twitter. And at that time, we didn't know about Twitter. We just had ours named Coco, and it was something that
the original Twitter.
I like to believe so. But it was our hardware brand driven, so it was installed in all our hardware devices.
Right.
And the reason why we did that, because we wanted to make sure that there were a lot more applications with the hardware, and we wanted our users to feel connected, to have sense of community, to be able to share their stories, those kind of things. So it was done way back, and then suddenly, alamak, there's Twitter, right? So sometimes maybe a good idea, not at the best place at the best time. But it was interesting. Then we move on to software development. We move on to consultancy, do a lot of programs. Started to share a lot more, doing entrepreneurship programs. Got myself involved with many organizations, NGOs. I led a few women organizations. I started Girls in Tech in Malaysia, ran that for a good 6 years, became president for the Women Entrepreneur Network Association Malaysia, became focal point for the ASEAN Women Entrepreneur Network, became the deputy president for National Council of Women Organization. So you see where I'm going, right? I'm going towards women. And that's also because, I'm a mom, I'm an entrepreneur, and we need to be with people who can share that kind of journey, who has similar stories, who we can build support system with, right? So that's basically, being a mom and heading on to entrepreneurship and whatnot.
Right. In terms of what you actually explained and shared just now, you had your system hardware, you've gone into consultancy, those kind of areas, right? What would be the thing that you have already planned so far ahead, but it end up you have to change like tremendously, or maybe something that again, it's something that you can't really control. Yeah.
So when I was running my first business, right, Nadira US, with our brand Nadiras, and we were doing actually very well for a local brand, right? I think I was young, I was very motivated, very ambitious, and the fact that we were doing so well probably kind of got into my head, right? There was that two parts lah, right? The terlampau optimistic part and ambitiousness, right? And the thing that fuels me, right? Building new products, building new technology, and always constantly looking at innovation, right? So I was building hardware businesses and our products go in school, right? And I wanted to build something more meaningful than just putting in hardware. And we started to dabble into software development, content, and we spent quite a bit of our own money from our own profit and whatnot, building what we call Worry Land, right? And that was a children edutainment network. We launched that sometime in 2006, if I'm not mistaken. And it's essentially what I must say what Roblox is to education at that time. And it was a real massive system of gamified learning and animation and things like that. Really built it, right? But I guess we got a little too ambitious, and we launched it a way ahead of our time. And at that time, I mean, we hardly hear things about there's VCs or seed money or things like that, right? And because we were doing so well and we wanted to look into expanding the business some more, so it was heavy investment in the content development. And content development is very resource intensive, right? And it requires a lot of money, requires a lot of people and things like that, right? And you have to catch up with the content development very fast, right? So if you have users, then you're obligated to continue make sure, right? So we had that. So we launched it in 2006. It was an edutainment network, and we were hoping that children could then go online and started playing this and whatnot. But it was year 2006, right? Internet was
right.
Still ada, but we didn't have 4G or anything like that, right? Parents were still very skeptical about allowing children to go online, right? And then they could go online on their own lah, in that sense, kan? And they had to use computers and things like that. They didn't have access to like how our children actually have these days. So because of that, right, we launched in 2006 and we struggled because we had users, but we didn't manage to get users fast enough to be at par or in line with whatever it was that we continue to develop. So that was a real I can't say it was a failure. To me, it was a very hard learning, right? And it actually cost us a lot. I learned tremendously from that journey alone, right? And we had to basically shut it down. But we managed to basically sell off the IP to a company in China. It was tough lah, because throughout that journey we had to let go of people. We spent too much. We're putting a lot of focus on the software side, and the hardware side was declining. We didn't have enough margin to support. So yeah, I think that kind of like brought me to my first big pivotal decision lah. Right? Okay, where do we go to? What do we do now? What were the things that we could have done better? Because during the time when we were building Morley Land, we scaled the team very fast, right? Maybe a bit too fast. So those all became, an important, essential learning for me, and building where we are right now.
I've heard like a couple of startups who actually venture into AI. Long time ago, right? They were thinking about all this Terminator stuff, right? I don't know. So back then, it was something that is not really known for, and people are not really keen to go into it with, perhaps in terms of VCs or even for any other investors. It's very hard. But when you look at now, is a really huge demand, right? Everybody is really pouring their energy into it, their time into it, and they're developing really a vast and extensive system towards it, right? But coming back to your stories, because what you actually did was way back in 2006. If ever that you actually do it now, do you think, what's your thought onto that?
Well, I'm a very realistic person, like Kare, right? I really feel that whatever it was that I did last time, and whether it was successful or not, it was meant to be done then, right? And I'm here, with Kido Care, and this is where I'm supposed to be right now. I'm a firm believer of all that, right? Yeah, could I have done better if it's now? But I had the idea then, right? And I had the passion to do it then. The opportunity presented itself then, right? But of course, I guess these are the kind of things that entrepreneurs, especially tech-based, and if they are innovators and they engineer their own products, they usually fall into this trap of like, I want to build, and sometimes you can be way ahead of your time, right? And technology may be not mature enough, the market is not ready, and things like that, right? So now, could I have done better now? I don't know. I mean, that's definitely a more ideal situation, right? If I had done now, if I was in Silicon Valley, if I had better, a lot of opportunities. But no, I think I was meant to do it then, right? It has taught me that I had the opportunity. I had the PCs in schools. I had PCs in thousands of Malaysian schools, and I had users everywhere. I wanted to build that into something meaningful, right? And I tried to do that, and I did that. And all of that actually allowed me to learn, right? Managing my resources, managing even my ambition, managing my decision making, how it was. So yeah, I actually don't regret anything. I don't wonder how it is now. I'm actually, sometimes I take pride, like telling myself, I actually started, our Twitter or Roblox, right?
Now you know, right?
Well, I'm sure there are many more of the same, right? Different animals. Yeah.
So, moving on with the second question, you describe Kido Care as a platform for women economic empowerment. Just now you actually explained, you said that you are more in towards the women empowerment. So rather than just a childcare solution platform, can you tell us a little bit more about the women empowerment, or you yourself having that?
I'm a mom. I'm an entrepreneur, right? I had times when I actually forgot to pick up my kids from Tasca, from childcare center. Yes, many times, right? Until my daughter came to me and said, "You don't love me anymore, is it?" Okay lah, I have to do something about it, because let's be real, right? Entrepreneurs work odd hours sometimes, weekends, public holidays, many different times, right? And I love to have a solution that fits me, right? And my kids and how we work, right? And really, women just need that kind of support, because it's holding her back, right? If you look at women, right, in the early stage, when they go off for work, kan? Go off for work, baru je nak start, dah kahwin, dah beranak, right? And then, you got to take time off and then deliver, take care of your kids and whatnot. They come back. Some come back, some maybe not, right? If it's by choice, good, right? Okay, they want to become mothers, stay home and things like that, great, right? Sometimes they don't have a choice. They have to stay out, right? Because there's so much worry, right? What's going to happen to my kids? And that's a lot of mom guilt. What can what if I cannot give the best that I can to my kids? Always those kind of questions, right? So you have those people who comes back, right? Baru nak come back, baru nak climb the corporate ladder, their build their careers and whatnot. And then just when they're about to reach their top leadership and whatnot, then they have to take care of their elders, their mom, their dad, whatnot. The responsibilities always fall back to women, right? And here we are talking about, why can't we have more women on top leadership?
Right.
Why can't we have more women on board? Right? But who's doing anything about solving the time poverty that women are experiencing? I know this for a fact, right? I know that I myself have time poverty. I don't have enough time for a lot of things, and it kills me because I feel so guilty about it. So, I have tech knowledge. I've run businesses before. It just makes sense for me to put these two and two together. And the fact that I work a lot with women, through the women entrepreneurship organizations, and this problem is not exclusive to me.
Right.
So many women experience the same thing, right? And data is proving that, statistics proving that globally, it is a universal problem, right? So why can't we do this, right? But to do this, we have to make things right. You have to do childcare, or you have to make care right. Right. So we did scheme on let's just take anybody, match them together, and things like that, right? Because I'm a mom, it is very particular for me to know who it is who's coming to my house and taking care of my kids and whatnot, right? I worry. Customers worry. I know I have that first-hand worry, right? I've had my own fair share of, having mates who does things to my kids, who, leave my baby in the house and gone out. So I am very particular about all that, right? So that's why, we know we have to make childcare right, and there's a lot of opportunity to use technology to do that, right? Making childcare be more safe, efficient, more personalized, and giving opportunities for women who wants to go out and work, supporting it by giving the skills to women who can come in and help them with their children. So that's really economic empowerment. We're talking about this circular economy that we're creating, right? Women skilled takes care of the kids of other women who wants to go out and do many more things. So it becomes a healthy ecosystem of support. And that's really, really what women want. And they shouldn't feel guilty about getting the help, because if they can't do it, if they can't give the best, then they should know that anybody who's walking into their house is trained, they can nurture, they can become the help, the support, the assistance that the moms require, right? They are the friend, they are the backbone. So we want them to be able to feel that, right? So that's why it's very economically empowering. And it's not just economically empowering, it's just empowering. Taking times off, having time with their husbands, going work-life balance, participating in sports. So it's an empowering platform.
Right. Name your biggest blunder and what could have been done better differently, because you explained about the first one just now within Kido Care and currently right now. What will be your biggest blunder? Nak cekik orang ke? Tak ada.
I really don't think it's a blunder, but I may be able to have done certain things differently. So in 2019 when we started just before COVID, right? So we were building our MVPs. We launched our MVP in early 2019, and it was gaining a lot of traction. But a lot of things had to be done concurrently, right? Building Kido Care, it's not easy because we made it our point that it did not become a marketplace,
Right.
That it became a platform that is in its true sense, right? A responsible platform. So number one, we have to make sure we recruit fast enough our babysitters, our carers. But recruiting fast also means that we have to give them quality training. So we have to do the training, the background check, assessment and all that, right? Now, if we have supply without market, then it's chicken and egg also lah, If they don't get jobs, then they might run out, right? Then we have to build the market as well. So building the market is a lot of, awareness and educating,
Trust.
Building that trust. So it was very difficult to handle, and being, starting up without any investments, just putting in our own money and our own belief, right? Getting people to trust us itself. And it's not just our customers, our nannies have to trust us to know that, they can walk into any house, they are comforted, they can be protected, they have sense of security, they'll be paid. So a lot of things happens at the same time, right? And then as we are building the traction, a lot of resources as well, pouring in our own money, our own time and whatnot. Tiba-tiba MCO hit us, right? In just baru nak grow kan, but we kind of grew pretty well lah, I must say. In our first year alone, we closed almost 1 million in sales. First year alone, right? And then we went into MCO, and we were at that growth traction, right? And still growing. MCO hit us. When MCO hit us, tiba-tiba, because we don't fall under regulations tau. Because we're just like mates, we don't fall because we go into houses kan. Then we were not considered as essential services. Alamak,
So
how now?
Right.
I still have my team. We have put in a lot of resources, a lot of money, our own money was invested. Then how now? What can we do? And women were coming to us and saying, alamak, we need jobs. Right, because gig workers, they work on a daily basis. If they don't work, then how are they going to eat? Right, macam mana ni? And being, I think, being so invested in this and the fact that I built this business because I can relate. I can relate to the hardship, to the needs of actually going out to get a job, get income and whatnot. I felt like, alamak, I have to do this somehow. Right, so I was reaching out to the kementerian and whatnot, asking them, can you give us this ability to just go out? Can you consider us essential service? Because, well, it is essential.
It is.
Right? So then susah semua, then we went in, I think 2-3 months without being able to move. And really we were stuck. And at that time I was thinking, alamak, what do we do now? Right? Kita dah invest banyak dah. Even my very own money also I invested already. Right? So after that, I think we had customers also coming to us, and these were frontliners asking us to support them, right? Doctors, nurses, tu semua, until KKM reached out to us and said, okay, you know what, we need help. So we started going, tapi we were serving the lower level of the frontliners, the nurses, the enforcement officers, and they cannot afford. So what we did was, we gave them a 90% discount.
Wow.
Yes. So we kind of like anything better than nothing tu satu. But, I think I was very emotionally driven. Right? Very emotionally driven. Because I knew how hard it was for the frontliners to worry about who's taking care of their children, right? When they have to go out and work and they are stressed and their children are stressed at home, right? And I had women begging us to go, ask them to go out and work, right? We had the airline workers, apa semua. I was very emotionally driven. And I guess that emotion got a little bit, too much of me. That I was pouring in too much of my own personal investment into this, giving people subsidies. It doesn't make sense. The traction grew. My money finished.
Right.
And I had to borrow from alum, right? To keep the team together, to keep the business going, and it was a lot, right? Until to the point in November, I felt that if something were to happen to me, or if I die, my family would be better taken care of by the insurance than me living. Right? So I hit that point of being invested too much emotionally in my business, right? And putting everything in. At the same time, I was still trying to, raise money, investment and whatnot, and just that. Right? So if you ask me, would I do anything different? Maybe less emotionally invested, right?
Okay.
Maybe less, right? Because I should have thought, being in that place in November, considering whether to die or not, is never a good place to be at. And then at that time, I actually received an email from a customer who told me that, thank you for existing, because I would have taken my life or the life of my children. right? If it was not for you. She was a doctor in the COVID ward, 4 kids below the age of 2, 2 pairs of twins struggling. It changed my whole perspective. Yes, I was in that position. It was my choice. I decided to be emotionally invested, give the discounts and everything like that, right? But if I had not done that, I don't know what would have happened to her and the children, right? So then I realized, I was meant to do this. And this is why I'm here, right? And it just fueled me so much to tell myself, okay, team, let's get going. I looked for investors and I managed to close a round with our seed investor. It wasn't easy, but we managed. We applied for Cradle seed grant and we got it in the later part of 2020, I remember. So I guess, if you feel very strongly for it and it drives you, it just opens up opportunities for more things to do and it keeps you going. And some people might say, purpose lah apa ni is a cliche. But it proved a point to me that it was indeed a purpose, right? Setting up Kido Care and doing what I did. Could I have done it a little better? I probably would have looked for investment earlier. I probably would have, do more crowdfunding or anything like that. I probably could have done that. I probably shouldn't be giving that much discount.
Right.
Could have saved. But yeah, those are all learnings and I shouldn't actually be too emotionally invested. I guess at the end of the day, it works out for the better, right? I mean, this is where we are.
Everything falls into places.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. With the seriousness of it, I'm sure that you need proper support around your circle itself, even your kids, even your parents, even your... How are they in that sense? Because when you actually... I would consider that could be... If I were to be in your place, that could be the lowest point, maybe. But how did you actually take that? Your support system.
I'm a very blessed person. I can tell you that, right? My kids are amazing, right? They're just simply amazing. I'm so blessed. Previously, before I started Kido Care, we were doing pretty well. My kids were in private international school and things like that. And in 2020, I think my son was about 15 years old and COVID hit us and we were in that situation. I had to take them out of private school. Sold my house, sold my car, and my kids never questioned. My son had to sit for PMR. He was learning something else, IGCSE, right? And then he had to sit for PMR 3 weeks away, right? And he did it, right? My kids are just so amazing. And if you ask me what's my real support system, it's them. It's them being able to, just have that faith in me and never question. And whatever it was just, okay, boo, we'll support you. Okay, boo, we understand. Okay, we know you're making the best decision, whatever it is, right? And I guess I'm just so blessed with that notion, right? My dad left us in the late 2018, just before I was starting my business in Kido Care. It was, I think, 3 months before my marriage crumbled, right? So it was a very tough time lah. I was a single mom and my dad, and we started this and went on to like 2020 MCO tu semua kan. But it's okay, right? It's all right. It was meant to be that way. And I guess, being a driver of Kido Care, I think I need to acquire not just the experience but the empathy.
Right.
Because it drives me in that whole decision making of Kido Care, making sure we put processes, because you have to think of things like this, right? Making sure we've got like social safety nets for our carers, because they might be in situations like this. They have probably no support system than better than what I did, right? So everything that was going on in my life was meant to happen, right? It drives who I am now, but it also drives, how we build Kido Care and making sure we put in the real support. I can't claim to be a supportive platform if I don't know what support women need, right? So that's what it is like, Kare. I'm just so blessed. That's my support.
How does Kido Care differ from other babysitting services? If ever that nobody online or who is watching now who doesn't know Kido Care, how do you sell this concept to the audience and also investors?
Number one, Kido Care was first and foremost set up to become an on-demand childcare platform. So what we do is that we provide a platform for parents to get childcare anytime, anywhere. Serves people like anytime I need, anywhere I need, right? Get babysitters. But as a platform, we take pride in ensuring that all our babysitters are properly trained, are vetted, background check and whatnot, right? And in the true sense of platform also, we want to make sure that, the services doesn't just end by matching the customers. We put in the support, we have monitoring, we do live updates and constantly build upon our technologies to improve the inefficiencies of childcare, right? So that allows us to grow as a platform, not just marketplace where, anybody can come in and say, anak saya 6 orang, I can take them just to, we don't allow that, right? We put in that whole process because as a platform, you should feel that you are able to trust and really get support from here, right? Are we perfect? No, not yet. I think there's a lot of learning that we're putting in place. We're also very different because we care so much for our caregivers as much as we do for our customers. So we make sure that we put social safety nets for our caregivers. We make sure that they have ongoing career development, there's career advancement opportunities. We do hand-holding, coaching, many certification programs for them, social safety nets for them. There's insurance, EPF, SOXO, and all those, right? And from our customers end, there's the service admin. So even though we're a tech platform that does the matching, but we have a real human actually monitoring the services that's going on and constantly and being there whenever the customers need help. That is how Kido Care is different from other babysitting services, right? And we don't have centers. Basically, our babysitters are gig workers. Although they follow our SOPs, they're certified by us and whatnot, but they go over to the customer's house. And I think the other part where we are very different is that, we're going through a transformation, or rather an evolution, Kare.
Is this a teaser?
This is a
Yeah,
teaser.
okay.
This is a teaser. And we will soon, inshallah, be able to serve family better. So like I said, right, women and time poverty, when they're younger, it's children. When they're older, it's, the elderly. So we will be introducing our elderly care services in October. And we'll be looking at the full spectrum of just providing care for the families. So, yeah.
That's a great thing.
That's how we're different.
I'm your target market number one. Right. Okay. So Kido Care is founded by two mothers, you yourself and also your co-founder, right? As you mentioned before, this led to investors questioning your commitment because as a mother, you would assume the bulk of the domestic responsibilities. Can you tell us a little bit about that and how did that make you feel? What did you do to prove them wrong?
Well, of course, I understand their question, right? Although I feel it is a little unfair for the question to be posed only to women.
Right.
I'm very sure that the question is not just asked to me alone, right? Or my partner. But yeah, it is an understandable question, especially if they're putting money into the business. And again, I think I'm a very positive person. I take this from a very positive point of view, right? And if they were going to invest money in me and the business, and I want the business to grow, I take that question from an angle of I have to build something around my own support system if I don't have it.
Right.
I can take offense, right? But I'm done with taking offenses, Kare. Exactly why I built Kido Care, right? So how do I prove them wrong, right? This is where we are right now, right? Can we do better? Of course, I think. And Kido Care is that platform that can help me, help my partner, and help many other women achieve what we cannot before this. So I'm proving them by building Kido Care, like I think.
That's great. So there aren't many female startup founders because I've interviewed a couple of them. Most of them are male dominated, right? Let alone in tech, we had a difficulty of finding female founders also. What else is holding women back and what we can do to actually support this? I heard that you mentioned about the support, the gig economy and women empowerment. How did you navigate this male-dominated space?
I have always been in the male-dominated space. I
Yeah.
think they should be very afraid of me. No lah, I don't think there's any barrier. I don't think there is any barrier. Are there challenges? Yes. Right? Challenges, are there gender, bias? Yes, of course, right? But I also have a lot of respect for my male friends, my male counterparts, right? If you are able to, be very strong in your knowledge of your business and the industry and whatnot, sometimes it can turn out to be very, advantageous for you, right? Because then they would have a lot of respect. Is this fair? Maybe not, right? Because you do need to work hard and prove yourself to them. I wish we don't have to do that. I wish whatever it is that we're doing right now is also going to be a way for us to reduce this gender biasness, so that our children, later our grandchildren, would be able to really level the playing field. There is no longer a male domination or, a female centric kind of jobs or businesses, right? Back to your question of, women in startups and even tech related, right? Actually, ramai je wanita dalam business ni. Ramai, right? But maybe the word startup, right? Let's not go to tech. Startup maybe is a little too overwhelming for them. It becomes scary. Because number one, role models, right? When you look at role models, mostly men and young, right? So sometimes women ni dia takut tau. Dia macam, can I really do this? And it's always been shown as, very high growth, very fast, having to raise money, talk to investors. It is something that's not so, familiar to us. The exposure kurang, maybe the role model of women going through this, raising money, finding the right co-founders, weaving tech into their businesses. That story belum banyak. So because you don't have many of that, there are many women in businesses but cannot see that they can actually do that. There are ways and paths to do that. Tak cukup inspiration, tak cukup, because we need to feel relatable to this, that I can do this too, right? And then of course I would go back to whether I have the capacity to build a business this big. It's going to take so much of my time, my role as a mom, that right now I am in business but I can balance it, right? I can work as and when I want, I can grow. Okay, I make good money, I'm good, right? But, if I want to look at startup, and now we're talking about unicorns, boleh ke ni? Kan? It's going to take so much of me. Like, it's not going to be okay, right? And it boils down to, again, do I have the right support system to do this? Do I even want to do this? So there's actually many things lah, right? And technology. We have many women in the technology field. They're engineers, they're developers and whatnot, right? But leading a business takes a different kind of, determination and pushing forward, that kind of mindset, commitment. But we do have many women in tech. We do. Whether they want to drive that kind of business. But we're positioning tech startup like that. It is very unfamiliar to women, right? But we have many role models of SME leaders. Women in the SMEs, women leading businesses, micro lah, apa semua banyak. And they're very successful, right? But we don't talk as much about our female founders in this tech business and their stories, how they actually started, how they got co-founders, how they build the technology, right? What is raising money? How is talking to investors? What is giving up equity? Ramai orang tak tahu.
What would be your advice to them? University students, graduates, I can see that there's a lot of engineers, leading engineers, women engineers. But leading it as a tech startup, what kind of advice would you actually want to give to them?
Build strong women founders community and bring the technologies and the founders together. They should be able to know that their skills can be used to create great things, right? Because in universities, I'm an engineer by training, right? In universities, especially if you're in the local use, I'm not sure how it is right now, right? We are trained to do the job. We're not trained to look at problem solving, right? And I did it because I experienced the problem and I have the skill, and I just match these two together.
Right.
But I'm also very entrepreneurial, ever since I was small, right? So getting them to start this in universities, having more of this ideation, growing MVPs, I think those are key to doing that. But bringing in the women founders, the women co-founders at the university level, and really inspiring them, I think that is going to be crucial in order for you to create, right? I mean, it's great to have, men to speak up, but they go through different journey. And it's that part of the journey that usually holds the women back. Not because they tak pandai, not because they don't have the skill, but, alamak, this journey, what do I have to give? How is it I'm going to live my life? It's all that. It's that decision, because it will impact her life. So I think we need more of the women go in and really build a strong community, build more women founders, have more women founders night, bring them together, have this sharing. Women learn by sharing. Women learn by talking to each other. And sometimes it gets, overwhelming having, discussion with men. Kadang-kadang kan macam, you tak faham gitu kan. So something like that lah. That's my advice. And, I wish my startup will be doing a lot more of that soon.
Maybe you could be one of the founders to build a community.
Inshallah. Love that.
Right. Okay, so thank you so much, Nadira, for sharing your personal stories with us today. So how can our listeners find out more about Kido Care, and a bit of last word from your side?
Kido Care, just go over to our website www.kidocare.my or download our apps. And now they're on all platforms, right? That's how they
Give it a try, right?
Yes.
Give it a try.
Give it a try. Must give it a try, because you don't know when you need us.
Right. So we'll make sure to include those links in the episode description. Thank you, Nadira,
Thank you
for being on our podcast, where it's not about avoiding failure, but rather failing forward. And to our listeners, make sure you subscribe to MYStartup YouTube channel and upcoming episodes of more Malaysia startup ecosystem. Thank you.